Okay, we're live. Welcome everybody to Haunting Live Podcast. We are into podcast number 18 already. So thank you guys so very much for being loyal followers and support our channel here on Haunting Live Podcast. We so much appreciate all you guys doing, following us and all that on social media. And we just want to let you know that we greatly appreciate you guys and look forward to chatting with you guys and stuff through the future podcast here. We've been doing a lot of testing and stuff lately. Hope you guys don't mind that either. We've been doing some testing with the new equipment that we've put in place here in the studio at home here. And we hope that we have finally gotten some of the bugs and tweaks worked out here with the new equipment. We got some new microphones and new cameras in recent weeks, and we've just been doing some tests to make sure that they work properly for the podcast. So we hope you've been enjoying that as well, and that the improvement has been worth the wait. And we think it's pretty good here. We like the new setup here in the studio, and things are running smoothly, we hope now, and clear audio and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but thanks for tuning in tonight, guys. It is Haunting Live Podcast, Saturday night, 8 o'clock. We are into number 18 already, so still continuing Haunting Live Podcast here on Facebook. As always, just want to run over a few things at the first of the podcast with you guys. The one thing that we want to mention is we do have a brand new website that we've launched a little while ago. We would appreciate you guys going to check out the new look and the new feel of the brand new website. It is at HauntingLIVEPodcast.com. And we have a whole bunch of new features on the website. You guys can get our social media feeds with Facebook and also Twitter on there. All the feeds that we post go automatically onto the website. You can also check out our YouTube channel directly onto our website as well. Anytime that we post up something to YouTube, it'll be automatically posted on the website automatically, so you can get all the updates from there. And also you guys can go and check out any public events coming up, like the one that we just had last weekend at the Queen's Inn in Stratford. I'll talk about that in a minute, but you guys can go and check out any public events coming up under our events tab at the top and buy tickets directly through our website now as well. So it's under our Eventbrite app, and just go to events at the top and see what's coming up. Only thing up there we have right now at the moment is our postponed event through COVID. We had to postpone that. We had it originally launched back in the spring, but we had to move it to hopefully November. It's still on right now as of November 6th and 7th. Tickets are still available for that event called Ghost of the Queen's Inn. That's going to be a 2-day event with dinner Friday night, and then workshops during the day on Saturday, and it goes on Saturday night. That's going to be at the Queen's Inn in Stratford, so the place that we were just at this past weekend. And yeah, so go check out a brand new website. And we also are starting to do a mailing list on our website, so please feel free to sign up to our brand new mailing list. And what that will do for you guys is anytime we have new products or a new guest coming on the show or special events coming up, we will send the email out first to our email client list, and then we'll post that on social media. So anybody on our mailing list will automatically get notified before anything goes out to social media about events or products or special guests coming up that we want to announce. So we highly recommend you signing up for our email list, and we'll get that going as soon as we get some more people on the list. So we appreciate you guys' support so very much, and look forward to having you guys on our mailing list. Other announcement I want to make just before we bring our guest on tonight is that we are launching very shortly a brand new merch section on our page. So HauntingLivePodcast.com will actually have our merch section where you can buy some products from us directly through our website, and you can just go on there, see what we have. We'll have about 20 products to start, and then we'll see which other ones we can add later on. But there's going to be some very good, interesting products for you guys. There's going to be some promotional items for you, as well as things related to crystals and stones and healing products and smudging products and stuff like that related to the paranormal field. So I think you guys will be interested in that. Worth checking out. It's not up there just quite yet. We're just making the final tweaks on the store page, but we are going to have a full legit store merch section on our HauntingLivePodcast.com page. So go check that out. There'll be an announcement, of course, on our social media once that's posted. But let me just touch on quickly what happened last week before we bring our special guest on for tonight. Last week we did our first ever joint podcast with another podcast channel. It was really exciting. We even had in the studio, which was the hotel that we go to in Stratford, called the Queen's Inn Hotel, and we did a joint podcast last Saturday night at 8 o'clock, the same time we do it tonight. We did it with our good friend, the Queen of Ooga Booga's channel, and she is the host of her channel in Stratford, Ontario. So we do quite a bit of work with her, and we both decided to do a joint podcast and see how that goes. And we also had a few minor guests join us in the live studio as well there at the hotel, and that went really well. I think they had a great time, and I think they would have a great time also if they come to the event coming up in November. You guys would too. So look forward to seeing all you guys at the Queen's Inn Hotel in Stratford. Tickets still are on sale for November 6th and 7th coming up. So, but if you want to see what that's going to be like, just go and check out last week's Haunting Live podcast, and it was a joint podcast with the Queen of Ooga Booga, Sally, and Chris were on camera for that one, and you can go and check them out. That's still posted on our Facebook and YouTube channel. Just go to our website. So, but tonight, guys, we do have a very special guest tonight. This person was one of the very first people that we had interviewed here on Haunting Live Podcast, and we're welcoming her back tonight. She is Chrissy Collins, and she runs her own paranormal team up in Thunder Bay, Ontario. So we're going to talk to her a little bit about what she does in the spiritual world and her path on that walk of life, and just seeing sort of what drove her to that direction she's taken now in her life with the spiritual world. She does a lot of different things. She investigates the paranormal. She also does a lot of Reiki. She's a crystal healer and some other stuff as well. So we're going to get into most of the stuff that she does as the paranormal team, but more along the lines of the stuff that she does with the Reiki, the crystal healing, and just all what that entails and how she sort of developed into that tonight. So with that, I think I will give her a quick call here and just see if we can get a hold of Chrissy. Just give me one moment. There you are. Hello. Let me bring you in here. Okay, there. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. You sound pretty good. So how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
Oh, that's good. Thanks so much for joining us here on Haunting Live Podcast. Hope the audio and all the connections are okay. We're trying to get all the way to Thunder Bay tonight with you there, so we hope they stay nice and strong throughout the podcast. They should be all right. As I knock something. That's live, so what are you going to do? Yeah, but thank you so much for taking time out and being here tonight, Chrissy.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, you look great, by the way. Love the hair. So tonight we're going to talk to you a little bit about your life in the spiritual world, of course. So we want to kind of start at the beginning and sort of see what led you into the paranormal first. Maybe start with that, like what got you into the paranormal field back then?
I think it's just something that until I got a little older, I didn't realize that everybody didn't see what I saw. So it sparked an interest as to, well, how come I can see it and they can't? And then getting into classes and school and stuff like that, you learn the science behind energy, and you learn all that stuff, and it just, when the two combined, it was it blew me up. Like, I mean, I've been doing this stuff since, like, really actively, probably since I was about 17, and we won't disclose how old I am.
No, I won't do that for you. No. No, well, that's great. Was that always your goal in life, like to be into the paranormal field? Like, you've had some experience, I'm assuming, that got you into it. Like you said, you saw things that nobody else could, and that's how a lot of people kind of get into it. what was sort of one thing that got you drawn into it more than something else? Was there one experience that you had that was really like, wow, what was that?
Yeah, there was one big one. I was about, I think, 6 years old, and I'm saying that number just because of what else was happening at the time, and I was about 6. I was laying in my bed one night, and everybody's sleeping, and I'm not sure exactly how or why I was woken up. There wasn't a big bang or anything like that. It was just like it's time to wake up. So I woke up and I saw this gray, I lived in Akina at the time, which is 4.5 hours north of Thunder Bay. And there was this grayish, it wasn't like a bright light or anything like that, it was just this grayish kind of glow. And I recognized it as my grandfather, my dad's dad. And I was like, oh, I was excited. I'm 6 years old, right? I'm thinking, when did he get here? And he sat down on my bed, and I kind of shuffled up the bed a little bit, and he put his hand on my leg and said, tell them that everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. So I start yelling for my parents, Mom, Grandpa's here, and go to bed, No, Grandpa can't be here, he's in Toronto, So I was blown off at that point. So he just got up and left. Like, I don't know if he dissipated or I can't remember any of that. I just remember him gone. He was just gone. Being 6, I don't know if I really understood what was happening, but other than the fact that I was excited, I saw my grandfather. Well, that's kind of where I sat with it. And then the next day, I was telling my dad, my mom about it, and my mom was raised Roman Catholic and very strict on there's certain things after life, and that's not like there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just that she had a certain belief, and what I was telling her went right against everything she believed. So I was dismissed. And then about 10 a.m. the next morning, my dad got the call that my grandfather was dead, that he had passed that night. So I remember the stare my mom gave me. That will embed itself in, and then I thought, well, I might have said something about...
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, it's kind of weird, too.
There's certain words you can't say around iPhone equipment, but anyway, I remember the stare my mom gave me, and I remember it feeling like odd, like how did you know that? How did I know that? But then I remember looking at my parents and saying, I told you he was here. And that was where it really, that's the one thing through as the years went on. I'll never forget that was the time where it was kind of solid for me because I know what I saw. 6 or not, I know what I saw.
Yeah, it's pretty unforgettable if you see something like that, right? Then you just, especially at that age, you just don't know. I had something happen to me at a young age, but it wasn't ghost related. It was more cryptid related. I think I talked to you a bit about that in the past.
Yeah.
And at that time, it's like the same feeling though still, right? It's like you don't know what you're looking at when you're looking at it at the time, but you're meant to see it, and maybe later on in life it'll realize what it was you were looking at the time. But when you're that age, you just don't know. And who do you turn to for that, right?
Well, I'm an only child as well, so I didn't even have any brothers or sisters to say, hey, or do you feel this, or do you have this? So, and I didn't have any cousins either, because all my cousins were, or are, 18 years younger than me. So I didn't have anybody my age or anything, and my friends kind of thought I was Lulu. You didn't talk about it,
Yeah, it's kind of hard to talk about when your background is more on the religious side than the unexplained side. Like, which way do you go? You probably felt more pulled in one direction, did you, or was it like split?
Well, I think that I've always been pretty confident in the sense that I know what I saw. I know what you're telling me is wrong, in my eyes, because I've seen this. I can feel this. I understand, so I allow people to believe what they believe because belief really essentially is what the strength of anything is. But I don't know, I really have not ever bounced back and forth with, am I going crazy? Am I this? Am I that? You know, the first feelings that people get when they start to experience paranormal, like, am I going crazy? I think I've heard that so many times from people. Like, I feel like I'm going crazy. You know, that's the phrase of anybody you're going to help. That's like the first thing out of their mouth. Like, I just want you to tell me I'm not going crazy. Like, you know, that's what they ask for. But no, I've never had any. What I've seen, I believed in, and I never shook from that. I mean, I went to church. I read the Bible numerous times. I've educated myself, so that helps too. And I've attended a lot of science classes. So.
Right, and that's kind of going to lead me into my next question for you. You're one of the only paranormal teams or people in your region of Thunder Bay, right? So what kind of led you to, is that kind of what led you to form your group or your team or get more into it? Or was there something else that made you go, look, well, there's nothing really up here for this type of issue that people have, so I need to help people that have issues? And I mean, I've always been a helper. Like, I like people. I'm a people person. I mean, I don't do well in crowds, but I like people. I have, my mom passed away September 3rd of 2017. And that experience, I mean, I was doing stuff before, more interest, research, nothing really huge. When she passed away and the experience that I had when she was passing, on to the next 2 weeks after, there was like, okay, there's no doubt in my mind that this is real. This is truth. So I have to now that I know, and with my gifts, it's almost, I feel like I have a bit of a responsibility to help, you know? Kind of like it's one of my godmother always says, she goes, with how does she put it? With great truth comes great responsibility. My godmother is very, very spiritual. So she would always say, like, you this was given to you, so there's parts of it you definitely are going to have to give to other people or be there for people. So these things aren't just handed out to anybody because, you know? So that's kind of where I've gone with it. And then that's when I met you guys, right after. So did you form your group immediately after you found out you could see and hear this kind of stuff, or was it more like drawn out and something that developed over time? Well, yeah, it wasn't like over time, the thoughts of this and thoughts of that and you know, all that kind of stuff, sure, but the experience of my mom passing, like, I saw things and everything was so loud after that because my belief was strengthened because of what I was seeing and what I was experiencing, that was like the okay, I'm now going out and actively searching out people that can help me do this, equipment, what do I need? That's when the things started piling up. Things started compounding because the experience that I had with that night with my mom was like knowing that I can embody a spirit, take it with me, and then let it back out again and bring it somewhere else. That was mind-blowing. Mind-blowing and very emotional because it's your mother, you know? So there was a few things that I learned that I could do that night that I never even knew I was capable of doing. And then they really heightened. Everything just went through the roof after that night. Everything. Right, and that's kind of what you practice nowadays too, right? Still, you kind of have those abilities. I guess you could say you still practice in that way. What kind of things led you to this point in your life? Like, what was your walk up to this point like when you realized that you had these abilities? Was it more opening to you, or did you find a lot of people are more closed off to the idea, or were you finding more people are open and accepting of it, or?
I find that people are, when they see me, they expect it. I don't know if it's something that I have, a look I have, or, I mean, I do dress in black all the time. But I don't get any ill reception. But I do believe it's because of how I relay my information. It's backed up with confidence. Like, I'm believing what I'm telling you. I'm not just telling you to talk to you. I actually believe it. And I think that's huge when you're talking to people or teaching, which is something else I'd like to get into. And it makes a difference, and I have that confidence. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that takes it in almost any type of field that you're in. You have to have the confidence behind what you do in life, right? And
Yep.
your path in life has led you up to this point where you now are doing more than just paranormal investigations. You're also dealing with things like Reiki, which is a healing type of energy,
Yep.
and you're also
Yep.
dealing with crystal healing.
Mhm.
So let's talk about that for a little bit. What led you into getting into Reiki, and what's the different types of Reiki that you do?
What led me into Reiki? It was after mom passed. Everything. That's the pinnacle. Is mom passing. You know, that is like where everything really really took off. After that, I decided to start looking for a teacher of my own, somebody to teach me, because I could do all these things, but I didn't know what I was doing, or is there a name for it, or am I the only one that can do it? I didn't know. So I found somebody, and as things were progressing with her, she was very in awe of me. So she was letting me in on every class that was there. She would work with me. She would challenge me. She found it incredibly cool that I could tell what was coming 2 pages beyond where we were. And she would laugh all the time. You know, like I would open my mouth. She's like, in a couple pages, just wait. You know, so she really got me into the divination, the different things that I was already doing, but now I had names for them. And there's other people that could do it, which was really cool. I met my people, which is probably one of my biggest, what I feel to be the biggest beautiful thing that came out of it. But she also taught Reiki. Reiki has everything to do with energy. And she figured, because I was powerful outside of it, that I would be wonderful at Reiki and that I'd enjoy it. So I took Reiki 1. And oh my Lord, that was it. I could feel, I could see, and she was just so excited too, because I could not mimic her, but I could do what she could do, and I picked it up fast, and that sort of thing. And now I've had a couple teachers since. With her, I got my level 1, 2, and 3 master and teacher for Usui Reiki. It's a type of Reiki. There's multiples, but Usui is the one that I can teach. I went all the way with her with that, which was an amazing experience. I can give people attunement and stuff like that. And then I went to another class for Reiki, but this one it's called Holy Fire Karuna, and it is, if you have Tibetan Reiki, this Reiki wipes it out. You can't use the symbol. That energy is gone. What it does is it builds on the Usui, just makes it stronger, so you're almost like spirit when you're healing. And when I got the master of that was probably the most, I've never been the same since.
Yeah, so those two types of Reiki really work well together then. They work in conjunction with each other, I guess.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how to pronounce that first one. It's Uyushi?
It's Usui.
Yeah, Uyushi.
Yeah.
Oh, it's only 4 letters, but it's hard to pronounce. But yeah, so that one, if you learn that one, then you can go on sort of to the next level, which is that fire Reiki.
Holy fire.
Holy fire Reiki, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the Tibetan is, you know, there's a traditional and there's a non-traditional. The non-traditional I'd really like to get into, but I'm in the wrong, well, I'm on the wrong continent for that matter. But to get the real stuff anyway. But yeah, the conjunction with Usui and then you're going into holy fire.
I'm not sure I understand.
We have to explain
take my
that
watch
more.
off.
The watch wants to understand
Siri
more.
is listening.
Yes, they do.
But when I found the power, not just in the energy that I had, but what I could hold and harness and the flow of a lot of Reiki practitioners go in and they want to heal, like they go at it like I want to fix you, you know, and that's definitely what they're there for. I mean, but you have the key is to ease that energy in slow and feel it out. You know, I had a lot of issues because you team up as you're getting trained. There's someone else is practicing on you because you get practical practice, right? You get practicing on you and then you practice on them and you go back and forth. My teacher was the only one that could work with me because my aura and my field is so sensitive. And she tested it that it's about 14, 15 feet outside of me that I can feel things enter. And it was very hard for me to learn how to hold that like within an inch so that I could be around people normally, you know? So that was kind of like I thought that was super cool to be able to do that.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. Like, I get that sometimes as well. I'm not as trained as you are, but I am sort of sensitive to energy as it is. I will feel certain types of energy more stronger than other types and that kind of thing. So, especially when I'm out, like you, I'm an introvert, so I do not like going out into crowds or being in parties and stuff like that. So, when I'm out in a crowd or out in a mall, say, for example, I can sense certain energies around just off of people being around me. And like you, like if they're within your bubble range of a couple of feet, I can tell right away what their energy is like. It's like I need to either get away from you or something because your energy is just sucking right into me or something.
Yeah.
And I think they call that something like psychic vampirism or something, like where you feel the drain of other people's energy, especially when you can connect at that level. So I can't imagine what 14 feet away must feel like.
Well, I learned how to drop a sheet on my body, and that's where it ends. It's not that thing of like, well, now I can go into a store and I'm going to be okay. No, I leave my home. There's a process that happens before I even leave my home, and I drop that net. And it just, it's a net that I created to intent, and it's interlocking with different crystals that I used for protection. Obsidian being my biggest, because it does reflect negative.
Oh, okay. I think I'm back on live. Am I live still? Hello, 1, 2. Yep. We're just going to make sure we're live. It looks like we're still live, okay. Well, back on live. Are we live? Hello, test 1, 2. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry about that, everybody. At home here in the studio, we just lost connection. The internet went down and we had to reboot, but thankfully it looks like we're still connected to the actual podcast. We didn't lose anything. I didn't close any windows or nothing like that. So looks like thankfully we are back up. But just let me adjust one little thing quickly here. Okay, so looks like we're back up here, guys. I do apologize for that. We'll give Chrissy a call right away and hopefully get her back on for a part 2 here. But I just want to tell you guys something. Like all day today in the studio at home here in our apartment, we have been having the weirdest stuff happen all day long today. Like literally stuff moving, stuff dropping, knocks and stuff. So I'm really not surprised that we had a major interruption tonight live on air. So, but to actually disconnect the internet from the source, not the computer going off or anything, and I'm still connected now live, that is totally weird, and we never have had anything like that happen here on HauntingLIVE Podcast. That's a first for you guys, episode number 18. Weird stuff happening here with Chrissy Collins on live tonight from Phoenix Paranormal up in Thunder Bay. And speaking of that, let me go and give her a quick call back, and hopefully we can continue our discussion here. So just give me 1 second. Hi there.
Hi.
Okay, we're back connected with you. That was totally weird. I was just telling everybody on live on the podcast that we have never in the history of HauntingLIVE Podcast had anything like that happen ever. Like, it was so weird. All day today, too, we've had weird stuff happen in the apartment here at the home studio. We have had knockings. We have had things drop off of shelves about 3 times throughout the afternoon. And now tonight, the internet just disconnects like at the source. That is just so bizarre.
Sorry.
It's your energy. It's in
That happens.
You're bringing it all in.
I can't have, that's actually the longest that I've been able to have a conversation with somebody.
Right.
On any kind of electronic. I don't watch TV. I carry around stuff on me to repel the EMF, and so it does though. It happens all the time for me. All the time.
Yeah. But the weirdest thing was, though, like, I didn't lose anything off it, like, nothing crashed or anything. I was able to just keep everything open, reconnect on the modem, and everything was still there. Like, we're still continuing 36 minutes in on the podcast right now, so we're still going, but it was just like an interruption.
I got upset after you guys went off. I knew. Once I saw your face go completely didn't move.
Yep.
I got upset right away. As soon as everything went down on my end, I got upset. Like it's just something that it's not that it's malevolent or they don't want me to talk. It's just they get excited when I get excited, and things just start happening. Like this has been in my mind since we talked to each other yesterday. Mm-hmm. I've been excited, so it's in my mind. That's why I have to live moment by moment. I have to live mindfully because I can't put that energy out because it just goes.
Well, we're totally used to dealing with that type of energy as well, so don't feel bad about it whatsoever.
Okay.
It does do that, like, as mediums, as psychics, we have that ability to project that energy, and that's what people don't realize. Stuff like this can happen, and that's what happens to our equipment when we go investigating. It dies. We have cameras and stuff. They will always die out because that energy is being drained, and we don't say that lightly. We say that because that's what's happening. Yeah. And we just proved that right now with your energy coming through on the podcast tonight, that can happen. But that's happened before too. Like, we've had technical issues live, and we just try to reconnect and continue on. So
you can't
do much more than that, right? Mm-hmm. So let's skip ahead then a little bit. We were just talking about the Usui Reiki. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more detail about the Holy Fire Reiki. I'm kind of interested in hearing what that more entails. Mm-hmm. It's a bit of a higher level Reiki, I assume, or is it like...
Oh, yeah. A lot of meditation, 45, 50 minutes at a time. But what that does is it goes in, and because you already have a ability to and have experience doing the regular Reiki, because you can't just go from one into the other. You have to work through it. So when you get there, it goes in, it takes away all trauma. We'll call it trauma, and we'll make it very general. Because it does, it's everything. Whether, there's bad things in your past, things that have happened to you, it goes in and it really cleans it out so that you're able to be who you're meant to be without the junk, without the baggage. And, you're right in the middle of a meditation, and all you have is singing bowls, crystal pyramid going. You have somebody holding space. And then you're sitting there 20 minutes in, and also you just burst out crying. You're not sad, you're actually happy. And then the next meditation, it'll be so like you're so under. It's really a progressive thing, and if you're not ready for it, I could see it really being a hard thing to do. It was a long weekend, a long weekend, and I've never been the same since.
Yeah, I can imagine that it actually plays and draws your energy out, and that would play on your emotions and feelings a lot more too. So,
Yeah.
what does that entail though? Like you were mentioning, you can use pyramids and stuff like that. Is that to focus the energy more into what you're doing, or how does that help it?
Well, it does send the vibrations out. I can, that's also something else that I can feel music. If that makes any sense, I can feel the vibrations of sound. And it really did a number on me, because I could, while I'm laying down meditating, she would spin off, and I could picture what it looked like and see the colors of it coming to me. So those types of things really are there to maybe enhance the experience, but it also gives you a focal point to, if your mind's starting to wander, because of meditation, until you're really good at it, that's what happens. Even when you're really good at it, when you've had a bad day, that can happen. It's just something to calm, I guess. I didn't even know there was a crystal pyramid. I had no idea. She pulled it out of the corner, and she felt the need to hit it. And wow.
I actually have one myself, but it's not a crystal. I have a jade pyramid, a little tiny one.
Ooh.
So it's a pure jade pyramid, and something is just always drawn to me about the jade stone. Jade seems to hold a lot of energy to me. It also seems to be more of a protective energy. So, along with the black tourmaline that I wear all the time, I think when I have that jade at work, where I keep it on my desk every day, that helps as well. So I think the pyramid really helps me focus to that point. So, because it creates a point at the top, right? So,
Yeah, that's right. You're supposed to actually, the best thing to do with pyramids is put them at your workplace, because the black tourmaline and obsidian, they actually absorb the EMF. So if you're working at computers, it won't be as harmful to you, but it also enhances your focus. So anytime that I've had work, I have crystals hiding in my work. The last couple of years, it's been strange.
yeah, no, I don't. They're just sitting on top of my desk, actually. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I just have them right out. But I'd have felt, since I've had it there, that they focused a lot more. So I think it is helping me.
Yeah, it's really good for that. Really good. I have, I just picked up actually a sunlight. I have a hard time with these. Some of these crystal names are off the wall. Can't you just call it, pick something? But yeah, and I found that I can't even unwrap it yet.
Okay.
Like I can't even take it out of its package yet, because it's not, there's like so many people have touched it. So, it's definitely strong. Definitely strong, for sure.
Okay, just give me one moment. I'm going to try to just quickly adjust something here on my end. I'll give you a break for a second.
Okay.
What else should we do?
I'm wondering, can you hear that? Is there anybody talking?
You actually put it a little bit faded.
Oh, okay.
There's actually,
Well,
can you hear that?
Chris said that there's a bit of a noise in the background, so we were just wondering if that was interference or something else.
Sorry, I'm going really close, but I can hear it.
Can you hear something as well?
It sounds like somebody talking.
Really?
Yeah, like there's a pause and then do pause do like there's a tone. Whoa.
Increase your volume. You've actually dropped down.
Yeah, I did drop that a bit to see if that would help, but I'll put that back up. Okay, I'm back up now, so.
Oh no.
That's still me. Okay.
Yep.
Well, you're coming through clear here, and hopefully I'm clear now that I turned it back up, so.
You know, it's kind of almost like it's in the middle.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Well, we get that once in a while, like that's what I mean, we've been doing testing to try to get this audio issue tweaked out, but I think it's never going to be 100% because, well, what we deal with, but also that it's technology, you're talking to people thousands of kilometers away, so I mean, it's going to have issues.
Yeah.
So for everybody that's actually watching right now, we do say thanks very much. Actually, well, when everything went down though, is what I did though is actually I lit Palo Santo sticks, actually incense, so that way we can try to get the negative energy actually off.
Yeah.
But that sound though, I noticed that right away. But if for those that actually do notice the sound, just minimize the sound, try to listen to Chrissy and Trevor.
Yeah, hopefully it's not on when we're talking, so maybe it's just in the background.
Oh yeah, it's there when we're talking, but it's almost like it's not loud enough to not hear us.
Okay, well that's good, as long as it's not drowning us out.
No, it's not.
Well, we'll test that again after we're done tonight and see if we can fix it, but there's always something. As long as you're hearing and I can hear you, then that's really
exactly.
the main point, right? So, okay, and that was a bit about the fire Reiki. Next thing I'd like to touch upon is the other thing that you were talking about, which is crystal healing. How does that differ from Reiki, and really what does it involve healing-wise? Like, are you healing energy, or are you healing physical body, or like what does it entail?
It's both. Yeah, you're healing both. The crystals and stones and they all have properties and stuff that have been given to them in the earth by being pressurized, characteristics, things that they there's just things that they do naturally, and it's come into somebody's attention that this is how it works. Michael Vogel, he created the LCD screen with all the crystals in it. Well, he also discovered crystal healing. He was the gentleman who figured out that when you put crystals or you have a crystal quartz, that it actually stores information. And if it stores information, then, we've got to figure out why or what else can it do, So that led him into a whole different thing where he actually carved or had crystals carved at certain angles. There's certain angles and how many angles and how many points and all this stuff. It would do different things and hold different information. I am very very grateful that I was able to have a pair that were designed and handcrafted by him. And I can't even tell you I can't pull them out all the time. They're not just like, hey, look at this. You don't take them out unless you're going to use them for, putting light into anything that you've worked on a body. But that's the kind of thing that I found, I can see there are different procedures you do. There's also crystal surgery, which will be something over next February. But there's also this thing that you can do when you're doing the body and put them at 2 angles. So you have 2 angles going like this. Well, in there, it's half of that is sitting in the body, and you're going through and kind of just giving the body a little bit of a cleansing. I can see that happening in between all that. So it's almost like that black matter in between you and I that we can't see. That's kind of what it works with. You know, make any sense? I'm trying to make that make sense. It 100%. It makes complete sense of what it does, or why I'm doing it, or why I'm using something. But to be able to verbally, I could go on for days. You know?
No, that's
Days
fine,
and days
yeah.
and days.
I think that's explained well, like you're putting your energy into the area that needs it, basically.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That was much shorter, and I like that one. Mine was a little long, but yeah, no, it's exactly what you're doing. And you use different stones for different things. Like, you have to use lithium if somebody has metal in their body. You have to use, you gotta be careful of what you use, that's why you gotta get the training. And the training is very expensive. It's not cheap.
No, and does the training prepare you for everything that you need? Like, are there some things that you come across on your own that you're like unsure of how to proceed?
Well,
you have to look it up.
I found during the trainings I would want to do something, not what my teacher was teaching me to do. Well, yeah, doing what my teacher was teaching me to do, but also maybe a little bit more. I wanted to go a little further. Like, I felt like, well, why am I wanting to do this then? And it never just made sense to me, so I would ask. And she said, you know, that's a little bit beyond where you're at. But you have the idea. So when you get there, you're going to be able to access that information really, really fast. So there are things that have come to me, and it really, again, all goes on intuition. People that are intuitive are very good at Reiki and crystal healing. Very good at it, because there's the extra that you need to feel when you're that person or that healer, so that you can take that to heal a little bit further.
Yeah. And I hear some background noise. Is that puppy in the background?
Yeah. She's facing me now.
Oh, yeah.
She just came in, so it's not about having to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
My son was just in here, and he probably spilled some of what he was eating onto the floor.
Oh, yeah.
She's scavenging. She likes little snacks.
Yeah. For people listening, what type of dog is it again? It's a two-part dog, I think it was.
Oh, no, she's a purebred Alaskan Malamute.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can remember fully if it was a dual or...
No, she's a snow dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to be 14 August 24th.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but thanks for explaining a little bit about Reiki, because that's something that I've tried in the past, but nothing that I went in and took full classes on to fully learn or anything. So I've done a little bit on it, but not enough to be like at any level 1 or anything like that, you know. So it's great to understand a little bit more about, you know, you can use the crystals along with the healing energy, and they're all tied in together, really. So I use crystals a lot.
I think combining them, I don't understand why. Because they're not, you know, you don't get the education in it, but they work so well together that you just know what to use. So it comes in for this, and you're feeling around in there, and my hands get really, really, really hot. So when you got stones in your hands and stuff like that, sometimes you don't even need to use yours. You may have that hot stone on the back. Healers don't even need heat from any source. You can hold on to them while you're going along, and they can actually have healing properties too. So that's something that I use them for too. Alignment, chakra alignment, and muscle tension.
Yeah. Yeah, so that would help with like meditation and relaxation. You probably only use all that together as like therapy,
Mhm.
right? Too.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, sounds really interesting. So, another thing that you mentioned to us in the past that you're sort of into is dream interpretation. Do you still do that? Like, are you still having dreams that you need interpreting, and do other people come to you for dreams that they have?
I don't really necessarily have dreams that I remember. There was a time where they were just awful. And I think once I started getting more spiritual myself and, cleansing my inside, and because a lot of that is the subconscious having a conversation with you, right? Or your music, or, whatever's going on. But the dream interpretation has a lot to do with psychology, a lot. And I kind of combine the two. When someone's telling me about their dream, I wait for those intuitive things to happen, but I also know, people with trauma and stuff, how their mind reacts to it. So I combine the whole package to do one thing. I go to my, I don't really go to anybody.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's why I think it's called interpretation, right? Because I think the person that's having a dream can interpret what the meanings and symbols in their dream mean to them at that time in their life. So, like, it may mean something at one time when you're having it, but you may reflect upon that later on and find out, well, maybe actually that meant something else that happened later on. So,
Yeah.
So I think they're very personal too. I think that spirits do also try to communicate through dreams too. I think they try to send messages too. So
Yeah, definitely. Like I don't feel that's the easiest way for them to talk to us. There's no outside energy, influences of people getting scared, eyes getting big. None of that's happening when you're sleeping. You're open. Your subconscious is open. So you can sit down and have a long conversation. Like, that's the easiest, and I've been told that from the other side, that that's the easiest way to get to somebody, or to go see somebody, or let them know that you're there, or to sit and have a conversation with them in your dream, or just bring back an old memory and play it out again. That happens. That happens. My daughter is, she calls me, oh, God. She's like, Mom, do you have a minute? And I chat. She goes, okay, I had a dream last night. I'm like, oh, my Lord.
I know. Yeah. Actually, Chris is bad for that too. He'll often talk to me about that kind of stuff. Like, I had this dream last night.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, well, that's up to you to interpret what it means. I didn't see what you saw, so.
Yeah, and that's what I find too. Like, there's only so much that, I can help with, but there's going to be those cues. Like, I'll ask, like, well, I was walking down the street and I had rubber boots on. I'll be like, what color are the boots? That's how I draw the information out, because they'll be like, oh, they were the red ones, like I used to have when I was, oh. So then that pulls me back there. Okay, so why are we back there?
Yeah, sort of like lead-in questions to where they want you to go. Like you said, a cue to ask the next question. So yeah.
And I have a diploma in SSW too, so I mean it's old, but I have it. And I'm using that stuff that I was taught way back in 2000 now with this stuff. It's kind of weird how they all go together,
Yeah, they all tie together, like the Reiki's all tied together, the healing ties in with the Reiki, and every little piece ties in. That's why the paranormal field is so wide open that you say you're into the paranormal, but then what part of the paranormal are you into? So that's why each one is specific. Like Chris and I are paranormal investigators. We tend to do the investigation side and go to locations and draw evidence out, right? So that's our part, but we also do a little bit of the crystals and the stones and what energy works with us personally. So during investigations, we can protect ourselves and stuff like that. So
that's right.
That's important too. It all does connect together. So yeah. Well, we won't keep you much longer, but we want to thank you again. Yeah. If anybody does have any questions, is it okay? Hopefully Chrissy can answer them tonight for you.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't see anybody typing in my window on Facebook, unfortunately, but Chris is in chat, so if anybody wants to type anything to Chris, he can pass any questions on to me and see if Chrissy can answer them for you. She does a lot, like we were talking late, with Reiki, crystal healing. She does a lot with crystal work, meditation type work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we have some people that we work with also that are into that too, so we do have a lot of connections into the healing field, so.
Yeah, there's not many of us in Canada, unfortunately, to alarm. There's not. There's not at all, and I'm thankful that I got in early because now I could be part of the entire movement, not just the end of it, you know.
Right. Especially up in Northern Ontario, where there's not even a large population that's into the paranormal to begin with. That well, there's no large population up there really at all compared to down here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's not a lot going on paranormal wise in Northern Ontario that I find.
Yeah, but yet this is like the earliest land.
Oh, exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, that's what I find so odd, that, you know, is the land just keeping, you know, the people away from not messing with it, which I'm very thankful for because the seeds we have around here are just breathtaking.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why there's no, because it's everywhere here. You can't walk down the street and not feel something from the house. And when I walked into this house is, I don't want to call it haunted. It's a safe place for them to go through, for sure. But I wouldn't call it haunted. Things happen, but it's definitely a safe haven. But this house was constructed in 1904. It's an old house.
Nearly 100 years.
Many people have lived. It's right by the train track, right by the water. You know, so there's a lot of energy that could be rounded in this little area because of the train tracks and the water alone.
Well, yeah, the train tracks act as ley lines that cross the country, and the water holds so much energy also, especially a big freshwater body like Lake Superior would hold a lot more than just a little pond or something on the property, right? So you're right next to Lake Superior.
And then my house shakes. I'm so close to the train track.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hope it doesn't come through one day.
Okay, well, there's no questions, but
Okay. No questions
if there's any
so
questions
far.
whatsoever, we'll forward it on to Christy.
Yeah, if there's anybody that does have any interest in learning Reiki or wants to get into crystal healing or more in depth on crystals, period, Chrissy is your person. So thanks very much, Chrissy, for joining us here again on Haunting Live Podcast, because you were one of, I think, the original person we had live on Haunting Podcast here, Haunting Live Podcast, back on episode, I think it was number 7 you were. So you were number 7.
Yeah, I only had my face.
You only had the audio at that point. We didn't have the studio set up then. But now we're up to number 18, so we thank you very much for staying with us and coming back on Haunting Live.
Oh, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
And what's Kitty's name there?
Salem.
Hi, Salem. Hi, Salem. I'll come see you soon. Yes. Okay. So, again, thank you so much for sticking with us, and your friendship means a lot to us here at Haunting Live. Obviously, Thunder Bay is my hometown, so we have a connection, and we want to keep that going. So, looking forward to our next visit, hopefully soon, and thanks very much for talking with us here on Haunting Live Podcast tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks very much.
Good night.
Good night. Okay, guys, so I just connected with Chrissy Collins. We just spoke with her for a little while, almost an hour tonight. So that was great that she could join us for that amount of time and talk to us about what she does with crystal healing. She does a lot of work with Reiki, crystal healing, and crystals. So she has a lot of energy to her when she does her work. as those type of energy workers do. And things like that can happen tonight. And we've never had that happen here before on Haunting Live Podcast. So number 18 is a historical podcast for us here on Haunting Live. We were disconnected by spirit. And nothing happened here. Nothing happened to the computer. I didn't crash it. I didn't lose any windows or anything that I had open. I just left everything. What happened was the internet connection itself to our place here got disconnected, and we lost total signal. And all we did was reboot our modem quickly, and it took a couple minutes, but it just rebooted, and everything came back online. We didn't lose any of the connection. We are in fact still in progress of Haunting Live Podcast live on Facebook. So it showed the time still ticking. We had about, I think it was 36 minutes into it, and we just kept going like nothing happened. So it's not like we had a system crash or anything. It just weirdly disconnected, and the spirits did not want to continue talking. So roll with that. Anyways, guys, thanks very much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed our special guest, Chrissy Collins. A big thank you to her for coming on to Haunting Live Podcast here and talking about her group up there in Thunder Bay and what she does, which is a lot of Reiki and crystal healing and crystal work. So it's really interesting to find out how she deals with that energy. So thanks very much again, Chrissy. Have a great night. Thanks for coming on. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in for such a long podcast. We don't normally go over the hour mark, but we felt we had to tonight. Anyways, guys, take care. Have a great weekend. Rest of it on the gorgeous summer weekend before it rains tomorrow here, anyway. And take care and happy hauntings. And we'll talk to you guys on the next podcast next week.
Subscribe to OGPS Filming /HauntingLIVE. Check us out online across the internet, live at Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.